Hello boys, hello girls, welcome to Football Manager 14 Son, me, centre half, and you can guess what this is, can't you? It is the Big Club Small Nation Challenge. It's replacing the Malawi Challenge, which I completely failed. And I'm now going to be managing Porto and Panama. I should have thought about this. There's going to be a lot of difficult names to pronounce, but Panama have never qualified for the World Cup. That's going to be the first aim. They're a much better team than Malawi, so hopefully this series it's going to be easier. It's still going to be incredibly hard. The challenge is almost impossible. It's still going to be a very hard challenge, but there's going to be a possibility of me actually doing something good with this series, actually achieving something. Whereas with the Malawi Inter Milan series, I was doomed from the start. So hopefully I actually have a possibility of getting to the World Cup, and I actually have a possibility of actually doing something, you know, beating a challenge maybe. There's a lot of aims. I'll go through the aims first of all, but here's Porto. I'm going to be playing my standard tiki-taka style of football. Try and develop some Panamanian, oh my god, how am I going to pronounce all this? Panamanian youth. But first of all, I want you guys to help me. I recommend some players I need to sign for Porto. I just need to dominate Portugal first. I need to cement my place at Porto and cement Porto as the best team in this league. It's still going to be difficult. It's easy to get distracted and focus on the national team and cock up the league. Yeah. So for those new of you that haven't seen my first series, I'll explain the series to you. Basically, you got to manage a small nation. I'll put a link in the description as well. You've got to manage a small nation, a nation that has never qualified for the World Cup. You've got to make your manager that nationality, and then you've got to manage a big team, a team preferably with a very, very good youth system. I picked Porto, and what happens every year, every time you get a youth intake, you have that extra small possibility of intaking someone from your nationality. So in my case, I have got a small chance, I think it's something like 5%, 3% chance, probably more than that, you know, chance of getting a player from Panama. Or Panama. Oh, I've really got to learn. I've got to learn how to say these. Please help me. If you know, I'll Google it as well. So every year I've got a chance of getting 1 to 3, maybe sometimes 4 players coming through the youth academy, which are the nationality of Panama. And because it's a good youth academy, these players have got the potential as well to become world class players. So I'll post a link for you in the description if you want to have a better look and find out more about the challenge. Short term aim, basically aim 1. Dominate Portugal with Porto. That's the aim. That's the first priority, isn't it? It's to make sure my job at Porto is secure. Make sure Porto are secured as the best team in Portugal. Benfica are really giving them a run for their money this year, or they did in real life, didn't they? So I've got to make sure that doesn't happen again in this series, in this save, in the first year. Next aim, Panama, I think. Is probably secure my job there. I think that's not going to be too hard, hopefully. Crikey, it's not going too well here. Where are we? Oh! There's a possibility of qualifying for the World Cup, you know. It's going to be between us and Costa Rica, so maybe qualifying for the World Cup is on the cards. I don't know already. Jesus, I didn't realise that. Is therefore... How does this work? I'm not too sure. We'll find out, won't we? I think whoever wins this group qualifies, so that's going to be interesting. 4 games left. Hopefully we can do some magic in there and qualify for the World Cup immediately, and then long-term goals, well, medium-term goals, win the Champions League with Porto, do the standard stuff with a normal Football Manager save with my club, and then long-term aims is win trophies with Panama. That's going to be hard. That is going to be hard. They've got some decent players though. I'll show you the Panama players quickly. Pause if you want to have a closer look at any of them. Perez there looks alright. They've got quite a few players. Quintero there looks very tasty. This guy's he's a beast, he's a tank. I'm not too sure how to play with this team at the moment. Let me know if you've got any suggestions, what tactic to play. I think I'm just going to go with tiki-taka. It's the style I've always gone with. Beloy is the best player here, 80 caps, 2 goals. I might even bring him to Porto just to make sure his career doesn't die out quite quickly. I'm not too sure, actually. Maybe it's best for him to stay at his club and play regularly. I'm not too sure. I'll have to think about this. It's all stuff you've got to think about. It's very tactical save, this challenge. You've got to think about what's best for these players. Not just pick the best players for the national team. You've got to think about actually where is the best place for these players to play. And I've got to think about that very, very hard. I'm going to try and bring a few Panama players over, develop them, make sure the youngsters actually reach their potential, and what a place to do it at Porto. But that's it really. That's it in brief. I might show you a few episodes. It's probably going to be yearly updates. Yeah, it's going to be yearly updates, guys, I'm afraid, for this series. Becoming Legend will be the regular series. This will be yearly updates. I'll show you the big games, though. If Panama get to the World Cup, I'll be streaming every game live, or showing every game live. If Porto reach the Champions League final, that'll be shown live. So it's not just going to be static 1 year updates, but most of them will be, I'm afraid. I've got to continue this line of domination Porto have been doing. Let me know if you've got any suggestions of players I should look at signing. I'm looking for a centre midfielder, actually. And they've got a lot of very attacking midfielders and very defensive midfielders. I want someone that can just sit in the middle and control a game. A Xavi, a Scholes, that sort of player. We've got a player here that I'm really liking the look of. I'm not going to pronounce any of these names. Josue, is that right? Please help me. Josue. A lot of Googling to do, a lot of how to pronounce blah blah in Google. And I need your guys' helps as well. Any of you know much about this league, let me know. But that's the series for you. Hopefully in 20 years' time, Panama will win the World Cup. Aspirations, eh? Let me know if you give this challenge a go yourselves. Please leave some details in the comments. Let me know how you're getting along if you do give this challenge a go. And that's it for today's episode, guys. See you later.